Hi, in this video, I'm going to tell you how to generate a privacy policy with Legal Monster. What you do is you simply log into your Legal Monster dashboard and you go to the section about your website compliance. Here you can find generate your privacy policy. What you do is you simply click on this button, and once clicked, you'll come to this page. This is where your journey for your privacy policy generator starts. You simply press start. And just for the ease of this video, you will then be asked these questions. And I filled them out just to make it a little bit easier. But the first thing you're going to do is add in your full company name. Remember, it needs to be also with the type of company that you have. So that's the first thing you do. And in this case, we've called ourselves Company A.Limited. Then you're going to include your address. And remember, it needs to be a full address as well. These are the details that are going to be generated into your privacy policy. The next thing is then going to be your company business registration number. In Denmark, this is called your CVR number. And remember, this is not your VAT/VAT number. It is the tax number. This is the company registration number that you have. Then you're going to add in the email that people can get in contact with your company about. That can be, for example, support. It could be hello at. But remember, this is a public email, so don't include your own personal. Then you're going to add in your company's telephone number. Remember, this is going to be online in your privacy policy. Then we're going to ask you if you have a data protection officer. A lot of companies aren't required to have one, so if you don't have one, you simply press no. But if you have one, then press yes. If you press yes, you'll then be asked to include the contact details of your data protection officer. Next question is the company's URL or the website for it. So you just include that here. Final question in that regard is if more websites or apps will be covered by the policy. If yes, include the links for those as well so they can be added into your privacy policy. And if it's not applicable for you, you just simply choose not applicable. Next question is whether or not your company is located outside or in the EU. If it's included in the EU, or if you are in the EU, you simply just press yes. If you're outside, press no, and then you'll be asked to include information about your EU representative. That's a requirement when you're not located in the EU. So that means if, for example, in the US or in the UK, just to name a few. Then the question is your website directed towards children? The reason why we ask you that question is because the rules are different if you are targeting or collecting data about children. Question number 11 is about for what purposes you're processing personal data. In this case, I said that we're doing it to deliver our services, for marketing, to improve our apps, website, and online services, and also for statistics because we're using cookies and to comply with obligations. Then we're going to ask you what type of personal data you collect about the users. And here you can see I've just added in a few. For example, contact details, user requests, if we have some interactions with our users, etc. And the list is long and you can always add in your own. Then the question is, on what legal basis are you processing your customers' data? Here you can choose if it's based on consent, for example, if you have a contract in place, it could be necessary for the pursuit of these types of purposes. Remember, it needs to be balanced in the user's interest as well. And you can choose as many as you'd like. Then the question is, how do you actually get the data from your users? In many cases, it will be from the user, him or herself, but it could also be from, for example, social media platforms, public sources, etc. Then if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to complain or know more about how you're processing data, you have to have an email, and that's the email you include here. In Legal Monster, we have a privacy dedicated email, and that's what I included in this scenario. Then we ask you if you have a public document on your website where you're describing how you're going to keep data safe. In this case, I said we did, and you can see that I added in a link for that security document. The reason for it is that that will be then included in the section in your privacy policy related to security. If you don't have one, it's not a problem. Then the question becomes, do you know what suppliers you're using? And if yes, then we'll ask you what type of suppliers. When we're talking about suppliers, remember it's only those who get personal data about your users or your customers. So I pressed yes, and I added in a few examples of the ones that you could be using. You then press OK, and then you're coming into a question about whether or not you're transferring data outside of the EU. In the EU, it's safe to transfer data around, but if you're outside, you need to have more security in place. And that's why if you are sending it outside the EU, you'll be asked some more questions. The questions you'll be asked is the legal basis that you're using to transfer data outside of the EU. There are different ways of doing it, and select the one that your company is using. In this case, the majority of our contracts and the way we're transferring data is based on EU model clauses. So I'm going to press next. Then the question is, what email should people use if they want to unsubscribe for email marketing? This is a requirement as well, even though you have unsubscribe links, for example, in all your emails. Then you press submit, and congratulations, your privacy policy is now getting generated, and it will be in your inbox shortly.